Your 5,000 XRP is sitting on a bottom right now, and the only question that actually matters is which one. As I'm recording this, XRP is trading at $1.20 right now, near its 2026 lows, and here's what almost nobody says plainly. There is more than one bottom in front of you, and most holders are quietly pricing the wrong one. A bottom isn't a feeling or a guru's number, it's a decision point. And at $1.20, you're standing right now on top of it. So before you do anything else, I want to run the actual math on those 5,000 coins at this price. And I want to give you one level that tells you whether the bottom is already in or whether there's one more drop coming for your bag specifically. Don't forget, if you enjoy the video, smash that like button and share it with another XRP holder. Quick contract, I'll show you the proof that the broader market is rounding out a bottom. I'll show you the one piece XRP is still missing that nobody screaming $1,000 XRP will tell you about. And I'll do the bag math at $1.20 across both worlds. There's a single price line I'm holding until the end because that line is the whole decision. And yes, the fundamentals are quietly moving under the price too. Just yesterday, Ripple put money into Flutterwave to push its stablecoin and XRP Ledger into African remittance flows, the kind of real adoption headline you've waited 2 years for, landing while the price still sits at a low. But here's why it doesn't change today's decision. Adoption news like that isn't a price trigger by itself, and a good headline near the bottom is exactly when holders make the most expensive mistakes of the cycle. We're not trading the deal, we're pricing the bottom. So is the bottom in or not? Let's be honest about what the data actually shows. Look at the big two. Bitcoin, by on-chain measure, that's marked every major bottom for a decade. The number of coins held at a loss just hit roughly 10.5 million coins underwater. Every bear market floor in the last 10 years showed up right around that number. Ethereum did the same thing, about 54 million coins at a loss, the exact level it reached after the 2022 capitulation. Now, pair that with a total crypto market cap near $2.26 trillion, testing its 300-week moving average. A line price has only ever kissed at generational bottoms and a stock market ripping to new highs. That's the macro setup that historically starts bull markets, not in euphoria, in exactly this kind of beaten down, nobody believes it moment. So if Bitcoin's there and Ethereum's there, your bag's fine, right? Not quite. XRP hasn't hit its number. By the same coins in a loss measure, XRP's previous bottom came in at around 43 billion coins underwater. We've seen 43, even 45 at the deepest lows. Right now, XRP is sitting at about 40.5 billion. Close, but it's not there yet. And that little 2.5 billion coin gap is the entire reason I can't stand up here and tell you the bottom is locked in for XRP the way I can for the other big two. Now hold that thought, because that gap means something specific for your 5,000 coins, and this part the hype videos skip. There are two honest worlds in front of you, and your bag is worth something at each different level. If you want the level that separates them, the one I'm building to, hit the like button right now, smash the subscribe, because that number is what the loudest XRP channels will never give you. World 1, the bottom is already in. XRP cooperates with the macro chain reaction, and that's the order it always goes, by the way. Macro turns, then Bitcoin turns, then XRP turns last, like the caboose on the train. In that world, your 5,000 XRP at $1.20 is around $6,000. World 2 is one nobody wants to say out loud. XRP does what it's done before. It puts in one more flush to finally tag that 43 billion coin loss marker while the rest of the market holds up. We have a real template for this. After the FTX collapse, the broad market had already bottomed, yet one major altcoin still carved a fresh low on its own while everything else around it held. That's the pain trade, not the whole market crashing, but your specific asset doing one last dip alone after you've already committed. If that's the world we're in, your 5,000 coins don't disappear, but they'll be starting at a lower entry than you could have caught. And that's the real cost, not the bag going to zero. The cost of buying your whole position at $1.20 when the actual low was a little bit lower, and then watching someone more patient get an even better basis. Don't forget, this is never financial advice and only for entertainment, but you can also check out WEEX, my crypto exchange. You'll get a massive bonus by signing up using my link. And that, being right about XRP and still buying the bottom, is a trap. Let me say it plainly, because this is the thing I need you to feel. You can be 100% correct that XRP matters, correct that the Flutterwave style adoption is real, correct that the cycle turns up, and still be the holder who deployed everything at the wrong price and spends the next leg underwater, while people who watched the level did fine. Being right about the asset and wrong about the entry is how convinced holders still lose. So what do you actually do with that? You scale. The disciplined read on the market for months has been gradual accumulation, small clips on the way down, not one heroic all-in, precisely because you cannot know in advance which of these two worlds prints. Now, the level, the line I've been holding, this is the single number that tells you which world you are in. If XRP loses and closes below roughly 84 cents, that's the throwback that drags the whole market down to the 43 billion coin marker. But there is a flip side, and it should make you sit up. If Bitcoin breaks to a brand new all-time high before XRP ever flushes, World 2 is dead on arrival. The window for the lower entry closes, and XRP cooperates from there, and $1.20 was the bottom you'll never see again. That's the fork. One signal, 84 cents versus a Bitcoin new high, settles the entire decision, and nobody's even tracking it. So put it all together, your 5,000 XRP at $1.20 is either a position you bought near the whole floor or a position you bought in one flush early. The 84 cent line is the thing that decides it. Not a price prediction, not a guess. The bottom isn't a feeling. It's the level and a signal, and now you have both. Every condition that starts a bull market is already on the board except XRP's last marker, and that marker is a coin flip, not a catastrophe. The only thing that kills this read is XRP losing 84 cents on real volume, and it keeps going. If you've got value here, do two things. Comment which bottom you're pricing, the bottom's in, or one more flush, because most holders have never actually picked one, they just react. And if you want the level and the bag math the day each catalyst lands, instead of a big number after the move's already gone, that's the entire reason this channel exists. Smash the like and subscribe, and you'll have it before the next headline. Send this to one holder who you know's frozen at the bottom right now. They need the level more than they need another price target. If you've enjoyed today's video, tap that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one.